and also it looks like the Wukong. So a lot of dive threat, especially I always say picks like the Vi or picks like Wukong really flourish when they have the Yuumi on their back as well, and it sets up for a lot of easy follow-ups. So excited to see what Weibo will also continue to go with the draft in that regard. TT though have the opportunity to try and answer with some kite back tools and also a jungler of their own, expecting that Vi to come in, or of course the Sejuani, which is still up and available.
Yeah, a lot of that engage tool there for the Sejuani locked in for Beichuan. I do really actually appreciate the Karsa Wukong here. I think obviously plays into that kind of big brain pathing style that we know and love, but also just gives him a lot of onus here on his birthday. That Heimerdinger, though, terrifying the bot lane. Varus Heimerdinger has just been dirty. It is the sivir Yuumi, though, so play safe is the name of the bot game for Light and Crisp.
Yep, seems to be the case with so many bottom lane bans and the Varus first pick. It seems like Weibo have just decided to opt into the full-blown scaling aspect, the only one really left up and available that we see every now and again in the Civ. I forget, we're still on 3.1, aren't we, here in the LPL?
We are.
Patch, so Yuumi isn't dead. Not having transitioned just yet, but Fiora gone, expecting another pick away from Hoya. I wonder if they'll be tempted to remove away the Kasate from Hoya. Or whether or not they'll look towards something else that's a little more lane dominant, perhaps like the Renekton as well. But for now, TT, having removed away the Castellan, could be eyeing up a Sylas pick up of their own. They're actually going to ban away the Jace, of course, very high priority and very strong. And also a flexed pick that can go not only to Hoya but to Ucal as well. They've shown that a number of times. Could have been a very, very powerful option, but taken away by Weibo.
True. We do get that Cassante ban finally by TT, so kind of take away that fourth pick for Weibo Gaming. We'll see what the response is, where they want to put this counter pick. If the TheShy, the trendsetter in the top lane, it feels like always, is going to get that counter pick, if they're going to give that to Xiaohu here. Xiaohu has been favoring the Syndras, the Ryze, a lot of that movement out of the mid lane. But he's going to have the counter pick this time as Gnar locked in for the TheShy blind.
Yeah, okay. Gnar goes here for the TheShy. And what will Hoya want to do? Does he want to go something like Camille here? Try and pick on and lock down the back line of Weibo. I think it could be okay when you've got the Sejuani and you can still find a melee mid if you want it through Sylas. I think that could be a really, really strong rotation here for TT, to be honest with you. Sylas just to steal away something like the Yuumi or the Cyclone. Mega Gnar ult as well, very, very powerful. And then you can go something like Camille if you're Hoya, if you want it. Or you can go something very stable in the top side as well, if you feel like you don't necessarily need a little bit more damage or dive threat. But I think it just makes the most sense in my head. I don't want to tunnel on it too much unless there's something else I think that could go here, but I think it just makes the most sense. Oh,
let's go, let's go, let's go, let's
this could be super fun.
Go. Come on, lock it in. He's already played again, but I want to see some spice, and we do still get it. This will be the third time that Ucal will whip out the Yone.
Yeah, it will be. Funny enough, if Hoya was a Yone player, I would say, by the way, this could technically be a flex if they really wanted to, because Sylas, back in the day, used to be a bit of a counter to Gnar in lane. I don't really see it played ever these days, but it's going to be the Ryze response here for Xiaohu. So this very standard front-to-back scaling. I'm going to hold my breath on the fact that it could be Sylas top, but I don't think it will be.
It could be Sejuani top. I would wonder how that kind of matchup would go, but I think this is kind of the setup we're going with here. And I really, really love that Weibo kind of capitalized with this Ryze pick for Xiaohu. It just enables the play style of Weibo a lot more. They have so much scaling team fight for Weibo Gaming, and I think you're going to have to try to find a way to pick that apart for TT, who in their own right don't have, they aren't slouching on their own scaling, as I think they do still have some options, but a lot more.
Especially in recent history.
True.
So maybe Hoya will have, you know, a bit of an up and advantage.
We'll see. As we get into the Rift here for our second series of this Valentine's evening. Both of these teams, Thunder Talk Gaming and Weibo Gaming, are on rolls in their own perspectives. They need to continue that here. Will they find it through the mid-jungle duos, or do we get some spice from this top lane you're highlighting as the Gyos come out? We are on to Weibo Gaming versus TT.
Wow, and one thing I immediately want to draw attention to is the TheShy's actually gone Hail of Blades. And I think this actually makes a lot of sense. In the context of the matchup, I actually think it makes a whole bunch of sense. Sylas wants to try and thrive in these kind of short-ish trades where, you know, you land the the E, and then you kind of just unload your kit and then try and walk away. Halo Blades is always going to give you the immediate, you know, sort of 3 quick auto return damage to try and even out that playing field. So I quite like the adaptation. We'll see how it plays out in theory, or in practice rather than theory, as you've got the junglers starting up on their buffs, both on the bottom side respectively. So we'll see where Karsa decides to go. You can still technically, you know, 3 gank into the bottom side, whereas Beichuan is kind of hovering down towards his Krugs, so expecting him to probably full clear the bottom side and look towards the top side of the map. That's a very aggressive dash in from TheShy.
The birthday gift still kind of holding over here as Light and Chris helping him get a quick start on his jungle clear.
Yeah.
We'll see if maybe Karsa wants to replay that in the back line into bot lane. But now we've had Nightof's first, and Light will be cresting his 300th game in the LPL.
Wow, that is a lot of League of Legends to play.
And especially where he's a transplant from a stunningly unsuccessful in their Miracle Run repeat last year, LNG, who had a lot of their pieces kind of picked apart from the successes they did find in the playoffs. I think Light was a integral piece, especially in the series versus V5 in last summer, going against Fodic, who's so lauded. We saw so many great performances from Light, but we'll have to get back to that conversation as Ucal and Beichuan have found this mid lane fight on the Xiaohu. He's locked down. Beichuan blasting for it, but can't find the kill. Xiaohu nicely done to get out of that one. Ucal wants to go to Karsa. Karsa will have to flash as well.
Real nice aggression though from TT. I think they just recognize that they are going to have the winning 2v2 in the mid jungle, and they force Weibo back. Karsa has to blow his flash. Xiaohu holds onto it for a very long time and does eventually lose it, but almost lost his life to a first blood attempt. But real nice from TT, and now there's no flash, especially for the level 6. That's going to be crucial, right? Ryze is an immobile mage at the end of the day, so Xiaohu's going to have to be careful at that level 6 point. We'll see if TT can find a repeat gank towards that mid lane at that point. Ucal goes forward, even with Karsa right there in his face.
You gotta play aggressive, I feel like, in this matchup in mid lane, but we have put so much onus on these mid jungle duos, and we get to see some of that try to be paid off by TT.
Yeah, so really nice engage here from Ucal, finds the knock up. Xiaohu doesn't flash away from it, and if Beichuan, I feel like he can commit for the kill. I'm not entirely sure why he backs away, other than kind of just feeling afraid that he might get run down by Karsa, but it seems like Ucal was very, very quick on the re-engage, so definitely a little bit afraid to try and get his hands dirty. I'm not sure whether or not he would have caught him, but that's how the play unfolds, and some of the spells are down on both sides for all parties. So again, I feel like now in the mid lane 2v2 matchup, it is going to be a lot about who's first to the next counterpunch, right? Who's first to actually try and find a little bit of action as Hoya.
Oh, Hoya going down TheShy.
Wow!
TheShy! Solo bolos TheShy! Hoya! You mad monster! Beichuan has found out Karsa. Hoya might find another one. Beichuan doesn't want to go in as that tower shot does hit him. He's going to back off. TheShy coming through, but wow. What a play from TT.
Dude, this is what I was talking about in the draft. This is why I called it out, even though Yone could have gone into this top side into TheShy, because he knows he's just got away with daylight robbery. That's why he's got a smile on his face. Look at him, he goes for hits 5. Kingslayer being maxed as well, I think crucial to note, because a 157 heal is massive, and Gnar just doesn't have the resist to deal with all of that damage so early on. And it only kind of gets worse, because at some point, or at the next, you know, couple of creeps, once the level 6 comes in, Hoya's going to gain access to Gnar, and it's got some pretty gnarly AP scaling. So TheShy is going to have to be careful as this lane progresses. A blasting one as well now to boot. So much damage Hoya was doing before that. As a Light, he's going to be alright. He's just going to be pushed back a little bit and have to be forced around the long way to return to lane. But really nice stuff from TT top lane.
The Sylas already paying up huge. We see Beichuan going for the early dragon for themselves. So it's continuing to kind of stack these early advantages, and exactly what we said they need to do. They're starting to cross some of those boxes off their checklist, and the early game is going their way, at least for the moment. Still got to deal with the inevitability that is Weibo Gaming and their late game scaling, but so far so good for TT.
Exactly. Yeah. You can pick up some of these early dragons, you avoid running into a situation where, you know, in theory and on, you kind of do get outscaled, you know, one-to-one. Scaling is subjective and very contextual to a game, right? But if you're talking about Sivir, Yuumi, Ryze, it's going to be very difficult to beat that ceiling, right? And as TT, you don't want to be running into a situation where you're down dragons, Weibo could be at soul point, and the break points are starting to come in, right? 2 items Xiaohu, 2 item light. Very, very scary, or 3 item light rather, over Sivir. Very precarious situation to be in, but you can see how much respect TheShy is giving to Hoya right now. Not only because he doesn't have the vision, but also just simply because the damage threat and the lethal range on this Sylas can be very, very surprising with how low the base stats are on Mini Gnar.
Definitely. We do see Rift Herald coming up in less than a minute. We had that first dragon taken by TT, and Beichuan is going back towards this top side of the map. Knowing TheShy doesn't have flash,
Wow, I think
does have Gnar that's starting to stack up here, so they're going to try to dive. He doesn't have level 6 for the Glacial Prison, though. I
don't think they need it. I'm going to be honest. I think with Hoya having Gnar, it's enough CC. And I think TheShy just gets the correct call. And he's just going to back away. He's going to lose a lot this wave. Beichuan is going to get onto the Krugs. I don't know how close Beichuan is to 6, but I suspect he should be close. However, he's not going to tick it on those Krugs. So Gnar's going to come through, and finally Shy can collect some of the XP here off the back of this wave.
See Beichuan moving towards this Rift Herald spawn on point. He's already there. Karsa's on his way towards this top side. I don't know if there's going to be a contest necessarily, as maybe Hoya with this first movement can help out if TheShy decides to. He's going to go Mega Gnar here, so has to be a little bit careful. Looks like Karsa wants to spot this out. Control ward over the wall, knows that Rift Herald is being started, but with movement from mid lane, Xiaohu was there just in case, but TT will continue to rack up these objectives.
I just feel like this duo is too strong at the moment. Sejuani, Sylas, Gnar as well. And the thing is, it's so easy for Sylas to, you know, get into positions where you can use it in a combo. Just because he can dive in so freely. And Weibo just have to respect it. Nothing they can really do. TheShy's not got Gnar. Ucal go back on that spirit form there. Karsa was waiting in the wings. Isn't able to pounce and find a potential summoner blow. Or maybe even a kill. This whole burst damage once that level 6 is available. But TT, they get the objective, and Weibo don't really have much to show for the early game so far.
But of course, fine.
Yeah, exactly, right? It's still fine, because you've got Sivir, Yuumi, and Ryze. So you're there scaling, and it's more about what they can do kind of at the 20-ish minute mark. They just need to not fall too far behind the neutral objective game so that they can actually have a bit of grounds to work around, and they don't feel like they're necessarily on some kind of neutral objective time.
Yeah. Man, about a 9-minute Roa completion for Hoya, the top side of the map. I know it's a little bit looking at the later parts, though. But definitely opting into that scaling build on the Sylas, going to try to match a little bit of what Weibo's bringing to the table here. And I think the Roa is really big for him. They start stacking that one up super early compared to everybody else who are still just on components. And now I'm looking at Beichuan on the map with this Rift Herald, where they can kind of put these resources back in.
Exactly, I think. Ooh, you probably want to try and get Ucal going at some point. Accelerating a Yone definitely doesn't feel too bad. I feel like Hoya's okay, and there you go.
Xiaohu with an expert flash out, though. That is the engage tool down. Ucal and Beichuan. Hoya is here, though. Xiaohu, you stayed a little bit too long, my friend. He's going to go down. Ucal gets the kill. In the side, though, you get the trade. Yao Yao is down. Karsa falls immediately after. Now, Chris, you're just the lonely kitty cat. It's Valentine's Day. You got nobody. Chris goes down, and TT, they smack back Weibo Gaming.
Weibo just picked apart in multiple avenues. Even though Weibo find the pick onto Yao Yao, it doesn't really matter if you're getting picked in the mid lane and then the follow-up from TT is just there. Hoya with an excellent roam as well. He's going to return back to the top side and defend some of these plates being taken away by TheShy, but that's 3 plates going over to Ucal and Beichuan, and Mini Gnar just
TheShy's in trouble here. Does have the hop, though. Does dodge out
chains.
of the abduct, though. So Hoya finding a little bit of precipice onto TheShy. We're not going to follow it up. Dragon up on the board now with Karsa headed down there as well. But Yao Yao has already been on the roam and setting up for Beichuan's arrival to contest this objective.
Absolutely. And as soon as the ultimates come back off cooldown, TT are going to feel a lot more free by actually making something happen, which is why I believe Weibo are trying to get this dragon rather started up. They have the ultimate economy, but unfortunately they're not really the impactful ultimates for combat that you need. Cyclone, Yuumi are both down, and what saves Xiaohu here is the fact that he's actually early picked up the Merc Treads, so Ucal tries to maximize damage before he gets that fate sealed in, but he just mistimes it, not expecting the CC to be so short. And Xiaohu, having just blown his flash, immediately gets jumped on by Hoya and dies. You can see on the bottom side of the screen, the assassination attempt from Karsa is good. The damage is there. Unfortunately, the damage is also there for Huanfeng, who's made his way up from base and very happily cleans up Crisp. So
the collapse, man.
Yeah, just get collapsed on a little bit too hard, and they're not expecting that many members there.
This is really about to be a 12. Oh, he gets stopped! Xiaohu! He's down again. 0-2 for the mid laner, Weibo Gaming, and that should be first tower as well.
Yeah, Weibo not really up to the shape that we usually expect them to. Right now, TT are just winning everywhere. Top side winning, mid lane winning, bottom side as well. A couple of kills, the item's already there for Crisp, but 1-0 up. What happens? This is the initial trade we didn't get to see whilst we were in the replay. Ucal just hits everything.
Ucal's just too good, man.
He just hits everything. And ultimate just...
He didn't actually hit the fade sealed, but it still got him in the
gap closer. It's a gap closer. You know,
yeah. That's what it was. That's what it was. Now we are looking back onto the map, though. We have shield bows, 2 of them completed for TT. Gnar from Hoya will push TheShy back. He'll get the hop over Hoya's head. But Kraken's Lair is there for light, so something to say for the bottom lane of Weibo. Not much else to write home about after that one, though. And TT back on the map with these one-item spikes. They are feeling confident to push forward.
Yep, across the board. Beichuan's got the Sunfire Cape. Ucal has a shield bow as well, and that's a really big spike for Yone. That's when he can really start to kind of limit test. That's when he becomes really, really obnoxious with that additional shield.
By the way,
Ucal's
level 11.
Yeah. Yeah, he is. I kind of... All right, I'll keep my eyes out to see how far behind Xiaohu is.
Farm. Yeah, I mean, this guy is just pumping it out. And I think that is where that bright spot of TT for Ucal, that growth it feels like in the offseason, whatever he did, it's working. Because last year, he was always trying to clean up after what was happening in jungle, the skirmishes. It was tough to connect with the rest of his team. And this year, it feels like him and Beichuan have really found a groove together.
Yeah, they have, indeed. Ucal looks a lot stronger this year. And I feel like, again, some of that, you know, sort of creative flow, not necessarily playing all of the, you know, meta stuff that's getting played in the mid lane right now, and kind of adapting his own champion pool kind of away from some of the control mage picks that we're seeing from, you know, a lot of the rest of the league. And sure, some teams, of course, are adapting some of these AD picks into the mid lane, but it feels like TT have really, you know, found a flow that works for them best, as Ucal just gonna dive onto TheShy. He doesn't have
He doesn't have Mega Gnar. That's a solo for Ucal. TheShy. That's twice now, man.
Yeah, I mean, Ucal's just level 12. He's got so much extra damage in comparison, and the mini Gnar just doesn't have resist, right? He's got Merc Treads to deal with a lot of the CC and damage from Hoya and Beichuan, and Ucal just annihilates him. There's nothing he can really answer out with. Xiaohu's going to get a tower on the bot side, which saw, you know, some gold answers back out, but the state of the map right now is in shambles for Weibo Gaming, and tier 2 is even going to go over to Ucal, so even more gold injected. 2 towers, a solo kill. The guy's just got about 1.5k, 1.6k off of that alone, with all of the waves added in.
Dude,
so he's going to go back to base with like a
charge.
Yeah, third charge as well.
That is all towers almost down to the top side. We'll look at this replay, though.
TheShy
just has no chance.
He doesn't even hit the Q3 on the way in. This is just all
dealing
auto-attack damage. Yeah, this is all auto-attack damage. See, it's moments like that where people complain about Yone.
Yeah,
just like,
I just gotta
dumb.
I gotta highlight though this power combo of Hoya and Ucal being reunited again after having been with Griffin in 2020. It's interesting to see how this kind of synergy has developed. This top side of the map has gotten so strong for TT, and yes, that flexibility of bot lane has helped them play with that, but it is just opting into these kind of crazy matchups and executing on them.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm definitely feeling comfortable and confident in one another to execute on these picks in particular is very key in an atmosphere to a team, you know. Ensuring that, you know, you get that push from your teammates. Hey, you want to play this? All right, yeah, sure. And it feels like TT across the board definitely kind of reflecting that on the Rift in their gameplay and the confidence to move forward with a lot of these picks.
I mean, this is TT's third dragon here, and Weibo got to start doing a little bit of something to stop TT's early advantages. They still have their scaling to write home about, but you got to make sure you don't give up the whole map before that happens. Now, Dragon contested, Karsa in the pit. Karsa steals it because he's just that good, and decisiveness for Weibo will get them a little bit of something back. Ucal chasing down Karsa though. Karsa down, and Ucal will pick up yet another kill.
That's really important for Weibo that Karsa manages to get that smite ahead of Beichuan, because if they don't, that's sole point. 17 minutes into the game, Weibo probably aren't going to be ready to take on TT in about 5 minutes time. They're going to need a little bit longer until they're actually on spike and ready. So massive time delay there. And, you know, a pressure sink removed all of a sudden. That's not necessarily going to be there for the next 10 minutes, which is definitely more than enough time at that point for Weibo to be ready to fight TT head on.
Hoya's coming down here. Xiaohu feels pretty aggressive moving up now as Hoya will just take that blast code to get out. Rest of Weibo, we're back right behind Xiaohu, giving some reinforcements. We'll look back at that play though, and honestly, Karsa buying Weibo a lifeline.
Yeah, absolute lifeline. Let's see how low it gets before the smite comes in, because I think it was also an arrow trying to burst it down, and yeah, it's just so much damage that Beichuan's not expecting at that time. I'm not sure if they were trying to sync up the damage or not, but either way, doesn't end up working out. Karsa gets the steal. Ucal kind of almost feels like a frustration.
That's
picks
an
up that kill, and
second item at a sub 19. Oh my god, Ucal is going to be disgusting.
He also has an extra pickaxe, as if he needed more damage anyway, so Ucal's really fed. Hoya is also really fed, but probably can't survive this.
Little moments like this make the world go round. CT can't find it though. They give Weibo's realm warp out for Xiaohu. And Weibo actually able to get out after that attempted play. Now they're also moving into mid lane. Going to be a little bit more careful, and it's just about clawing back some of this 5,000 gold lead that TT have for Weibo.
Yeah, absolutely. Just finding any opportunity you can to get resources out of TT's back pocket whilst expending very little in your own department is going to be crucial. And again, we're just kind of playing the waiting game, right? Xiaohu's about to hit 2 items. He's very, very close to that. Light is also very fast approaching a second item completion as well. The issue is that TT kind of just have theirs now, and they're on the map already, pressuring Weibo high up against enemy lines. So I think the wave clear might be able to pay dividends between Ryze and Sivir to sort of stave off this pressure for now. And again, I go back to that dragon that was stolen away by Weibo, because imagine if we're 2 minutes away from a soul. Weibo, they should just about hit 2 items. But again, you know, when you're kind of stacking up to the 2-item power spike of a Varus and the 2-item power spike of a Yone, you would still feel like TT have more in their locker to actually win out on a 5v5.
Those 5v5s are definitely going to come to bear here. It doesn't feel like necessarily out of grasp for Weibo. But we have seen just that Beichuan rather, has really had that proactivity to help Ucal, to set up Ucal, consistently going mid lane. And Karsa didn't really have much of an answer. He had a couple good looks earlier on, but now TT with this kind of death ball comp they've got going, they're going to start up the Baron. Yao maybe got a little bit scared there.
Yeah, I think he definitely should have been, though. He's in a bit of an awkward... Yeah, there you go. A flash out. But Hoya's got
Gnar
flat.
is there for Hoya. He does use it. That was just a clone, though. He's now maybe Weibo capitalizing on that here. Baron very, very low. The health bar is a little bit lower for TT. And Weibo actually do a nice little defense of the Baron play from TT.
Yeah, that's really, really awkward there. I think Hoya, thinking that was the real Karsa, kind of selling on that ultimate there. If he was able to lock down multiple members of Weibo, perhaps TT could have considered finishing the Baron, but gets a little bit too sketchy. They disengage, and at the end of the day, they don't really expend too much. 2 flashes. Definitely going to feel kind of bad on the side of Yao Yao. He's going to have to watch his positioning now. But other than that, I feel like Weibo are very happy that that Baron didn't end up going down as, yeah, just the blast code you can see in the picture-in-picture. Which, yeah, perhaps
just had to see that again.
Yeah, just wasn't expecting to be there, and sends him down that very precarious road.
So we got the Seraphs completed and a transform there for Xiaohu. So we'll get a little bit of that second item spike for Weibo. I think third item still is the big kicker here for both of them in terms of light and Xiaohu. TheShy will get a bounty in the side lane, so getting a little bit of gold back, sending some gold home to Weibo Gaming. And Karsa's just kind of trying to measure out Beichuan as Ucal soloing the Soul Point Dragon for TT.
Yeah, I think Weibo just fully understand that that previous Dragon sneak away with a lifeline and an opportunity to just buy some more time to get towards a more comfortable setting. And they happily give over that Dragon. I think they kind of recognize that that Baron, you know, the way that it unfolded for TT was kind of just a little bit too chaotic and likely won't happen in front of the Dragon Pit. So they just step away, and we'll see what they'll look to try and pick up once this next Dragon spawns up. I mean, I don't feel like they're going to hit 3 items before then, Weibo, specifically looking towards light, but perhaps they can find a pick on the side lane, maybe try and hunt for Ucal's bounty, try and hand it over to light. It's pretty optimistic, but it's about the only way I feel like they could get him to that point. Before then, I feel like Ucal, Huanfeng, they're going to hit 3 items before this next Dragon, and that could be a little bit too much for Weibo to bear.
Yeah, that could be just the difference maker. As Karsa actually spotted out walking through here, and needs to be a little bit careful. Has Crisp on top of him, so a little bit of help is there. He's locked down though, has to flash out as well. Crisp separated from the team. Gets engaged on Crisp. You got to get to your teammates. Karsa sacrifices his life to get Crisp out of there. It's your birthday, man. As now TheShy trying to defend the tower. Light going forward. Light gets 1 kill. The ricochets are starting to put back some damage. And TT maybe overextending, but you're starting to see some of that scaling action come online for Weibo.
Yeah, and this is kind of the point where if you're a TT fan, you get a little bit worried about how the course of this game could unfold if TT aren't a little bit more clinical. They do find Karsa, they don't get Crisp. And the idea is find the jungler, go back to Baron, but they just overextend a little bit, get a little bit too hyped. And Weibo now just very cautiously approaching the Baron pit. I actually think they're unsure whether or not the Baron is going on. It's not. And TT will happily just back away for now, but again, Sivir, Yuumi, Ryze. It's like a... It's like the old days. I actually hear the voices. I'm scared. You know, if they hit 3 items, it's gonna be really, really hard to deal with in the front to back.
And I think that plays into something that Weibo felt like they were comfortable going into this game against TT, is they were relying on their veterancy, their experience here. I mean, you have world champions on this roster. You have MSI champions. You have stoic names of the LPL. I think you can see some of that opt into from Weibo Gaming.
Absolutely. Weibo just standing steadfast for now as Hoya just oversteps, right? Gets CC'd back underneath the tower. Too far gone to be saved, as still waiting for these third item completions to come in for TT. I think that's the specific window they need to fight on, because even though Weibo find themselves around 4,000 gold down, once the total gold comes back down off our screens, you'll see they're technically at item parity, right? And obviously, item parity isn't necessarily everything, but you can't just take the gold value at face value. And
this should be third item for Ucal. I think coming back to it. Yeah, it's the Death Dance completed.
I think Huanfeng, I can't remember the combined cost for Wit's End when you have all 3 components, but he's not far off. So I think maybe another wave, maybe a jungle camp, and he should just about have it. And at that point, TT will have a couple more completed items over Weibo. But as I say that, Light's actually finished it very quickly. So it's not like he's lacking on that front either. And Xiaohu has a stopwatch. So, you know, it's kind of a baby long as just missing the stats. It's not too bad for Weibo to fight on, though. If they get caught out like this, it's problematic.
Karsa can't steal if he's dead. He's just gone. Fate sealed onto Chris. Chris is gone too. And so is Xiaohu. The pillars of Weibo Gaming's faith crumble between the might of Thunder Talk Gaming.
It's turning to ash for Weibo right now. Thunder Talk very happy to have Weibo walk into them. They'll pick up this Baron. They've got Dragon in 45 seconds. The Ocean Soul, I'm sure they'll go and defend that and look to pick it up. And Weibo are going to have to deal with so much pressure in the next 3 minutes. As we get a replay, it's just Q3 over the wall. Karsa gets hit by the knockup. And even though the chains don't connect from Hoya, so much damage is immediately layered in that it doesn't even matter. Beichuan finishes up the kill with the Glacial Prison. And Xiaohu in no man's land.
Oh
my connects
God.
onto an unmounted Crisp.
That is just disgusting. The timing there, beautiful stuff from Ucal, and they are having themselves a highlight reel performance for TT. We had sold them as underdogs coming into this, or say, yeah, TT, you've had a streak, but it's been against Ultra Prime LGD. What are you gonna do against Weibo? And they say, hey, it's Weibo that needs to be scared here.
Absolutely, truly a definition of you're not. You're locked in here with me, not the other way around. And TT pick up the soul. 2 minutes on the Baron, and they're sieging on the bottom side for now. Expect Ucal probably go towards the mid lane alongside Hoya and just act as a 2-man unit. Just too difficult to be 2v2'd. Now, one thing that has to be noted is, of course, the amount of wave clear available to Weibo will make sieging kind of difficult. So TT might decide to eye up a dive opportunity. And Shy dashes back, they'll lose that tier 2 in the mid lane. And now it's just the base towers to defend. It's going to be the toughest for TT to crack. Without any, you know, ranged damage outside of Huanfeng and Yao Yao, they're going to have to fish for that damage. I think TT...
Oh, Weibo, they're opted into the fight. Their health bars. I don't know if that's the fight you want, Weibo. Oh, my goodness. They just opted into a slaughter. It's like they just walked into a meat grinder and said, hello, hi, I want to be made into sausages.
Wow. Well, Weibo said, you know what, get us out. Game 2, please. Thank you very much. They go for a creative play with the Gnar. It just doesn't work out. Simple as that. TT were ahead, but I don't feel like they were so far ahead that they would have ended the game on this Baron, but with an engage like that, they definitely will. And TT, like you said, we sold them as underdogs. I feel like they are. But they're going to take game 1, and they're going to take it damn comfortably. And Weibo are going to have to find answers. Plain and simple, because they did not have a foothold in this game from start to finish.
Yeah. And you can see disappointed faces on Weibo's side. Immediately, TheShy walking off the stage. They need to regroup, refocus, figure out what to make work against TT, who have just come into this series and shaken